Hello again, welcome to Varsity Sports Live. Tom Nieman along with Jandy Pants, and it's been a weird weather season for 2.5 months in South Dakota. More stuff again tonight.
I've never seen it quite like this. I think we've had 1 week the entire season that has not had at least one postponement or cancellation, and more tonight.
All right, one postponement, Sturgis at Yankton. That game's going to be Saturday. There's a couple others. We'll get to those. Jody Norstedt standing by in Fargo with all the North Dakota stuff. We're going to rip through the scores here before we get to the highlights, and let's go with South Dakota. Sioux Falls, Washington, the top team. Rolls over Aberdeen Central 42-13. Big night for Tupac Capella. Roosevelt, big third quarter for them as they beat Rapid City Central 41-12. Highlights of that one coming up as well. Brandon Valley shuts out Watertown 34-0. Big night for Braden Peterson. 3 touchdowns for him for the Lynx. O'Gorman goes to Huron, beats the Tigers. O'Gorman 55-13 as they get to 5-2 on the season. Rapid City Stevens, this game was tied at 7. Stevens starting to pull away late in the ball game there as the Raiders try to get to 4-3. Pierre and Mitchell, highlights of this one coming up. Great second half. Mitchell trying to make a comeback, but Pierre wins at 14-7. In 11A, West Central and Dakota Valley. Dakota Valley gets to 7-0. West Central drops to 1-6 on the season. Speaking about weird, yes.
The playoffs started today. They would not be in it. And the other game in 11A that was huge, look at Madison, 42-0.
Madison 7-0 as they roll, and some highlights of that one coming up. Giles and Jonke having a big night again. Sioux Falls Christian, this is another game that got suspended by lightning in Sioux Falls, so they're going to play this one, finish it up on Saturday evening. Woonsocket, Wessington Springs, Sanborn Central. John Whitty, 4 touchdowns, got close to 300 yards in this game, and they get to 6-1, and they will host Winter. Also a big winner tonight at 6-1, so big game next week for Woonsocket, Wessington Springs, Sanborn Central. Sioux Valley keeps rolling in 11B. They beat Elk Point Jefferson tonight. Bridgewater, Emory Ethan, 27-0 over McCook Central Montrose. Back to 11A for a moment. Del Rapids gets to 6-1 with a win over Millbank. We'll take a look at some highlights from that one. Coleman Egan over Castlewood, 38-5. Coleman Egan in a battle of unbeatens there. Highlights of that one coming up as well. And Harrisburg beat Brookings tonight. I don't have the scoreboard up there, but Harrisburg
dominated
41-0. Harrisburg over Brookings. Again, Jody Norstedt standing by in Fargo with all the highlights. Here are the scores. West Fargo stays unbeaten, 7-0, 39-7 over Fargo South tonight. Fargo North gets by Red River. Third win of the season for Fargo North there. West Fargo, Cheyenne, and Grand Forks Central. Cheyenne gets to 5-2 with the 36-10 win. Good game, Bismarck Century and Davies. Century is 6-1 now, still 5-0, unbeaten in the West region in North Dakota. Minot beats Mandan. Creighton Rudolph with a couple of touchdown passes as they win 35-10. Bismarck High is 6-1 and 4-0 in the region after their win over Legacy tonight. Jody's got highlights of that. Watford City.
Close game here.
A bit of an upset there as Watford City beats Bismarck St. Mary's, just the second loss of the season for St. Mary's. Shanley, the game we had on live tonight in Fargo, they get to 7-0, 55-6 tonight over Valley City. Devils Lake over Grafton, 21-6. Jamestown beat Devils Lake to get to 5-2. Jamestown and Devils Lake will meet each other next week. In Class A in North Dakota, it was Hillsboro Central Valley over Edgeley Elam Culm. Hillsboro Central Valley stays undefeated. They will play at Oak Grove next. Oak Grove plays tomorrow against Enderlin. And a couple more 9-man scores in North Dakota. Jandy, it was Wyndmere Lidgerwood. They are 8-0. These are the final.
Watch out for them. The Warbirds are really playing some good ball in the last month especially.
These are the final games of the regular season in 9-man in North Dakota. Wyndmere Lidgerwood 8-0 and 6-0 in the region. Dickinson Trinity over Beulah. That's the first loss of the season for Beulah. Jody's got highlights of that one coming up. New Rockford, Cheyenne, and Cavalier come up just shy of 100 in that game as Cavalier stays unbeaten at 8-0. North Prairie is 8-1 as they beat Larimore tonight 48-20. And a couple more 9-man scores. Mohall 68-20 over Divide County. That's the first loss of the year for Divide County. And a close one, New Salem Glen Ullin knocks off Shiloh Christian. Both of those teams were undefeated going into that game.
Shiloh Christian hasn't lost a regular season game in a couple seasons, I don't think, so a huge win there for New Salem Glen Ullin.
All right, again, 9-man wrapping it up in the regular season in North Dakota. Jody Norstedt's got all the highlights coming up in Fargo here in a couple of minutes from the North Dakota games. Let's get to the South Dakota games tonight, Jandy. And Roosevelt was home tonight taking on Rapid City Central. Roosevelt is 5-1 on the year. The Cobblers play that funky brand of fun offense. Brady Dannenbrink had a nice night. Demario Hester with a touchdown there. 7-0. Riders in the lead, but Rapid City Central ties it up.
Yeah, Kyle Elder catches one to get him down to near the goal line, and then Holden Jackson punches one in. You never know what's going to happen on homecoming. Remember, it was homecoming for Washington when Rapid City Stevens took them to the fourth. This game was close.
Roosevelt up 7-6 at halftime, and then Tyler Feldkamp had a couple of touchdown catches, makes it 14-6 there.
But right very next drive, big run, Jordan Ladson takes it 72 yards, and Rapid City Central right in this game.
I like those helmets too. It's 14-12.
Double wing helmets, did you know that?
The double wing helmets. 14-12, Roosevelt in the lead, and then the Riders start to take off. Jet Vaughn from Carter Lohr there to make it 21-12, and then Lohr to Feldkamp again for his second of the night.
How about Tyler Feldkamp? This guy is just a freshman. He's seeing more time now that Nathan Barnes is going to be out for the season for Roosevelt, and he made him pay. And of course, this guy always making opponents pay, Nick Hookstra.
Hookstra makes it 35-12, and again, Roosevelt just takes off in the third quarter here. That was the first play of the fourth, but the Riders win it 41-12. Rapid City Central drops to 2-5, and Roosevelt is 6-1, and they are at Pierre coming up next.
Big game next week.
All right, let's go to Brandon. Brandon Valley at home tonight. They are 4-2 coming into this game against Watertown. And it was a big night for number 18 for Brandon Valley, Braden Peterson.
Yeah, when you get this guy's motor running early in the game and he breaks off a couple of runs, it really sets the pace. And once again, Braden Peterson puts a couple touchdowns in. This guy's well over 20 touchdowns on the season so far.
Well, he's got 2 here early in this game. Another great run there to make it 14-0. Watertown trying to come back here. Brennan Gabriel, smooth lefty, hooking it up with Cade Cummings.
He does throw a nice ball, and they go downfield vertically. A lot of different weapons Watertown can get to, but things changed when Brandon Valley turned up the heat in the backfield. You see Kate Tavere start that sack.
Tanner Neuenhuis ends up with the sack there for Brandon Valley, and then Watertown muffs a punt here, and the Lynx are on it, and Brandon Valley rolls from there. They throw it this is Braden Peterson with his third touchdown of the first half. He had 172 yards at halftime.
Yeah, then the rain started coming down at halftime. Things got a little sloppy, but the Lynx pretty much had it in hand by that point.
Brandon Valley was up 21-0. They got a Cade Tavere touchdown, and then another run by Peterson there. Ty McCann, one of their young guys, comes in with a touchdown run here, makes it 34-0. No problem. That is how it ends tonight. Brandon Valley gets to 5-2, and they've got games left against Yankton and then at Sioux Falls O'Gorman to finish up the regular season.
Definitely a team that has taken an arc upwards this season. The Brandon Valley Lynx looking to make that push, that playoff push. They're usually in the top 4. They want to get past that this year.
Great matchup in Mitchell tonight, Jandy. You had, let's go to Tri-Valley. Pierre and Mitchell, we got that ball game coming up here. Tri-Valley and Sioux Falls Christian. And this game played at Sioux Falls Christian out at Bob Young Field. And Sioux Falls Christian came out onside of the opening kick. They got on it. Tyler Van Horsen with a touchdown there. And Christian is in the lead 8-0. And then this is Noah Jewett for Tri-Valley, hooking it up with Caden Lamer.
And
Parker Nelson.
Yeah. Can't have a highlight of Sioux Falls Christian without a little Parker Nelson run. So a nice scamper up the middle. That would set up what they thought might be another scoring opportunity, but they have a fumble.
Driving here, Brock Newman knocks it away for Tri-Valley. Jacob Kasowski gets on it, and that was the last play in the second quarter before they got suspended by lightning. So they're going to finish it up on Saturday at Harrisburg.
In Harrisburg, I think Bob Young Field will be busy tomorrow, so we're going to move it to Harrisburg.
All right, finishing that one up on Saturday, and we will move to
Del Rapids.
Millbank and Del Rapids here, Jandy. Del Rapids at home, 5-1 on the season. Their only losses to Dakota Valley. Millbank first, though. Mitch Quaid to Max McCullough for 30 yards, and Millbank on the road up 6-0 early.
Hard to know what to make of this Millbank team. A little gimmicky, but when it comes down to just pure power, this Del Rapids team is really flexing their muscle.
Warriors get a touchdown there from Nick Beaver. Powers in from 3 yards out. Del Rapids in the lead 7-6. And they would add to that lead here in the second quarter. Carson Rentz dumps it off to Matt Galuli. And Galuli goes 78 yards for the touchdown.
The team that does not pass very often, but when they make big plays, it's just like this. They'll set something up with some downfield blocking. Galugli makes a huge play downfield.
Took it down to the 11-yard line, and then Seth Spielman had a couple of touchdowns tonight for Del Rapids.
He's tough to see.
Takes that one in, makes it 14-6. Next possession for the Warriors. Spielman again, this time from 4 yards, 21-6 at that point, and they rolled up some points, 42-21.
All second half.
The final, so Del Rapids is 6-1 now, and they will host Flanders coming up next.
This game was tied actually at halftime. Milbank came back, scored 2 touchdowns in the last couple of minutes of the first half, but all Warriors in the second half. Big win for Del Rapids.
All right. Del's at 6-1. In Coleman tonight, Coleman Egan at 6-0, taking on Castlewood at 6-0. And the defending state champs get going early. Keith Crisp. Nice run here for Coleman Egan.
Nice run up the middle, and this is how they've done it this year. It's not just been Bodie Gross, but he definitely has a big hand in most of their scoring drives.
This is second half, by the way. Coleman Egan already up 20-3 at halftime, and then Bodie Gross takes it in there. It's 26-3, Coleman Egan. And then start of the fourth quarter here. This is Keith Crisp again running over defenders. Gets the first down, though, and then Crisp will finish it up on the touchdown here, and the Hawks led 32-3.
These are the kind of games where you really can tell the difference between an experienced team like these CE Hawks, who took it all the way last year, and the Castlewood Warriors, who had a good start to this season, but there's just such a difference physically between these teams, and in the second half, you just saw the Warriors wear down.
First loss for Castlewood. Coleman Egan stays undefeated at 7-0. A couple of touchdowns for Keith Crisp, and they will be at Arlington Lake Benton coming up next week. In 11A tonight, Jason.
New rivalry here.
Number 1 Madison, undefeated at 6-0, taking on T-Area, coming in at 5-1.
Oh.
And an interception there off the tip for Jarrett Lurs. And then Josh Giles and Jackson Yankee go to work. First touchdown connection of the night for those two.
Big play there to get the turnover and then to take it down the field. Of course, Yankee's going to get it. West once again tries to throw and does not find the right colored uniform. Jackson Yankee this time.
So Yankee with a touchdown and an interception so far. Josh Giles goes to Jacob Unterbrunner this time. 45 yards, and it's 14-0. Madison rolling. Max and the Hat are happy. T trying to punt here. It's blocked. Caleb Riley is on it for a touchdown for Madison. It's 20-0, and they're just rolling.
You know what? They made big plays on the defensive side, on special teams. You know they're going to get the big plays on offense. You know that week in, week out. But when they get those other plays, they can rip teams apart. I thought this game would be much closer, but all the breaks went to Madison.
It's Jackson Yankee again. Picks up that low pass, goes 49 yards. 28-0 Madison. They would hook it up again later. Giles with 4 touchdown passes. Jackson Yankee scores 4 times, and Madison wins 42-0, and the Bulldogs are still unbeaten at 7-0.
Let's hear from the Bulldogs.
We're feeling good right now, but we just, like this week, we had a great week of practice, and that's just what we got to keep doing every week. Just stay focused and go out there every day and practice and just give it a good effort and just stay focused and keep moving forward from here. Yeah, it was a great win for us. We were a little skeptical coming in, but we had a great week of practice to get ready for this game. And 42-0, it's a great victory for us, and we're just going to move on to Tri-Valley next week and hopefully get the W then. Yep, they're a great team. They're really athletic and quick, and we just read our keys and just stayed in there and just fought hard and came out with a win. Yep, we just ran a 51 fast screen. Luckily, they only had 1 on me the whole game. I was just able to make the plays and just got in the end zone for us on those 2. It does surprise me, but I'll take it. I'm going to just take whatever they give me, but I'm happy they do it.
51 fast screen works. That's such a great trio with Giles and then Jonky and Jonky.
So much speed, and I think they made a statement tonight. 11A is crowded with a lot of good teams. I think Madison took that step up tonight by really handing it to the Titans. But, of course, we know last year Titans won regular season, but it was Madison who won the title. So we've still got a few weeks to decide this class.
Madison's got Tri-Valley and then Del Rapids left on the schedule in the regular season. we are going to go to
Cologne.
Cologne.
That's Cordell Menning, by the way, getting it done. The 6'4", 250-pound running back set the tone with 2 touchdowns to get things started. And they were up 16-0 before you could blink. That's a nice little lead against a team who has not lost all last year or this year. Cologne was coming out. They had their Jackson Kinzer, who likes to score touchdowns. I believe he scored a touchdown. It wasn't in the camera there, but he must have because the referee is signaling for a touchdown. After that, though, all second half, the Jaguars really started to take control.
Corsica Stickney got out to that 16-6 lead, had a couple of touchdown runs by Cordell Menning, and then a lot of punts, a lot of botch snaps. It was wet, it was slippery, and it remained 16-6. Corsica Stickney in the lead through 3 quarters. Kason Eide added a touchdown for Corsica Stickney in the 4th quarter, and they win it 22-6.
Yeah, you see the logos are wrong there, but the score is right. The Jaguars stay undefeated. They'll stay at number 1. Cologne now will probably move down to 3 or 4 in the polls and have some work to do in seeding when the playoffs come around.
All right, I'm trying to figure out who else we got left here. We got Dakota Valley at home tonight. Love those uniforms. Taking on West Central. And we showed you the score earlier, and Dakota Valley is a very good football team coming into this game at 6-0, Jandy. That is Nate Rice with their first touchdown.
A lot of people talking, and they should, about Madison and T and Del Rapids who have gotten hot. Sometimes we forget about this Dakota Valley team who has taken on all comers and really handed it to them. They had a close game against Tri-Valley a couple weeks ago. Other than that, they've really had some commanding wins.
Big game for Zach Polson, their quarterback. Touchdown there to Luke Johnson, and then Polson to Jake McCabe. And Dakota Valley with another Polson touchdown run here on a short run, and they would go on to beat West Central tonight 35-2 is the final. So again, Dakota Valley gets to 7-0, West Central 1-6, and I cannot remember a season where they have had that kind of record, but Dakota Valley keeps rolling.
They're putting it together this year. They've got a lot of players who have come up through the years, played as sophomores, played as juniors. A lot of those guys are seniors now, including Luke Johnson and their quarterback. They could do some damage in this 11A playoffs.
Dakota Valley at Lenox, and then they play T area in their last 2 games of the regular season in 11A. Back to Sioux Falls, and Sioux Falls, Washington, number 1 team in the big schools in South Dakota, and it was raining the entire game here. Lightning stayed away, so they got this thing in. And Aberdeen Central with an early interception here.
Early interception for them. That's about all that went right for them. Tupac Capella absolutely went off in this game. Over 200 yards in the first half. By the way, that interception was Mason Flockus, in case you were wondering. But Tupac Capella, I think he was over 200 yards in the first half, wasn't he, Tom?
Yes, he had 205 in the first half. That's his second touchdown run there. It's 14-0. And go right back to him following that big Washington offensive line. That's his 3rd touchdown of the first half. 200 yards in the first half. And Washington goes on to roll 42-13 over Aberdeen Central.
Back-to-back statement wins for this Warriors team after they had, I don't know what you'd call it, a little lull in the middle of the season against an O'Gorman or a Stevens, but they have definitely gotten back on the right track with that win.
At Washington.
Game of the day now.
7-0. And now, let's go to Mitchell and pick it up here. Pierre leading in the 3rd quarter. And Peyton Zabel at quarterback here for the time being, Jandy, goes to Gage Gehring. And that would set him up for this. Jack Maher in at quarterback for Pierre right here.
Yeah, Jack Maher, their leading receiver on the team, finds the 6'6 Zabel who lines up outside. They did that for a couple plays, and they had a 5'7 cornerback. Steve Steele tells me, and they said, you know what, we're going to line up our 6'6 quarterback against him and just let him go up and make a jump ball, and that's exactly what he did.
All right, work there. Pierre up 14-0. 4th quarter now, and Mitchell coming back here. Tate Larson with a big catch and run there for the Colonels. And that would set up the next play here. Keel Nelson to Jordan Dirks.
Nice pass. Keel only throws for about 40 yards per game, but he can throw that ball when they need one.
So that gets Mitchell back within a touchdown. It's 14-7. Pierre still in the lead, but then a little attrition, more of attrition here in the 4th quarter. 4th down. Nelson stopped there by Matt Rounds for the Governors.
Huge play for the
Well,
Governors.
they get the ball back here, and they get stuck in a 4th down conversion.
A little battle of 4th downs here.
And Maher again at quarterback manages to get the 1st down. So they're still running some clock here. They're in the final 90 seconds of the ball game, and that sets up a field goal for Pierre that would have clinched it, but it did not go through. Mitchell got the ball back with just over a minute to go, and they get all the way down to the red zone, could not convert. Final pass of the game for the Colonels comes up incomplete in the end zone, and Pierre hangs on to win at Mitchell 14-7. So the Govs are now 6-1 on the season.
Big win for them. They just got through a stretch with 3 partial games in a 7-day period, and then another big game against Mitchell on the road, and they kind of got through that pretty well. They're in good shape right now, and now they face Roosevelt next week at home, so it should be fun.
Mitchell had beaten Pierre badly twice last year as Mitchell went on to win the state championship. So Pierre, a little payback here as the Governors win 14-7 at Mitchell tonight. And we'll hear from Peyton Zabel and Pierre head coach Steve Steele coming up in our zone coverage in about 20 minutes or so. Next, though, we're going to Jody Norstedt, standing by in North Dakota with all the highlights from there this evening.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance Agency and South Dakota State University.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. A final from Rapid City, Jason. Stevens beats Lincoln 23-19.
Now it's still a comeback once again for Lincoln. I tell you what, that team's not giving up. They're still fighting to get into the playoff picture. They're at the 9 seed right now. Top 8 make the playoffs. So nice win for Stevens.
Stevens 23-19 over Lincoln in the game out in Rapid City. Let's see what Jody Norstedt is up to up in Fargo. What's up, Jody?
Thanks, guys. It's the first week of October, so at this point, every game has become very meaningful, especially in 9-man, because the playoffs for those schools begin next week already. But let's start with the big schools, where it has been West Fargo and everybody else. Fargo South hoping to be the spoiler on this night as the 5-1 and 4th-ranked Bruins took their crack at unbeaten West Fargo. With a chance to take over first place in the EDC, the top-seeded Packers get the first big play of the game. Luke Lennon with the block punt. West Fargo in business early, and the Packers would take advantage. Alex Sell dives in from 2 yards out. Here it is, makes it 7-0 West Fargo. South answers, and in a big way, facing 3rd and 14 from their own 31. Watch this play and throw from Tanner DuBois. He finds a wide open Jamin Howard, who takes it to the house, 69 yards to pay dirt, all tied up at 7. The Pack breaks the tie on the very first play of the second quarter. Sell almost falls, takes the handoff, and he's gone. There's the touchdown from Jamin Howard. And here comes Alex Sell, plunging again. Sell, 3rd and goal from the 1. He muscles his way in. And here's another touchdown run as we're having a little bit of trouble with our signal. Later on, West Fargo pouring it on, opening drive of the second half, 4th and 2. There's Victor Isaac running the ball. And South having a whale of a time. Here's the interception. Trying to catch up here. Interception for West Fargo. And then West Fargo pouring it on. Andy Gravdahl to Dustin Mertz in the corner of the end zone. Packers up 27-7. The route is on. 2 minutes later, Gravdahl goes up top again, this time finding Joe Pistorius from 42 yards out. West Fargo up 33-7. They defeat rival Fargo South 39-7. Here's Jared Franick after the game. A big win and a big performance for that defense.
We just played together. I mean, once our defensive line started getting some pressure on him, it gave the D-backs a chance to make a break on the ball, and that was the biggest difference from the first half to the second half, was just putting pressure on him to make him throw early and make him make a mistake. So.
It was doubleheader night at the Community Bowl in Bismarck, starting with number 2 Century. The Patriots trying to continue their 5-game win streak, hosting Davies in a non-conference matchup. Century fumble forced here by Devin Vance on Jesse Forknose, recovered by Century's Tanner Thorson. was the first play after Davies successfully onside kicked it to start the game. Century then converts it into points. Nathan Kraft, touchdown run. And then it's the Patriots coming up with a big interception. Jesse Forknell rolling out, but he's intercepted. And then Century, this time going to the air. Jacob Olsen gonna find Cade Lynch for the touchdown. This is the first play after the pick. Century goes up 14-0. Then it's Isaac Baltzvich. Check this play out. First play from scrimmage after the Century touchdown, and he's going to take it 85 yards. Baltzvich with a big home run for the Davies Eagles, running away from the defense in the Community Bowl. A little bit on fire in the afternoon. And then another long play. This is Forknell to Nick Toshchik. This is the first play after Century fumbled at the 5-yard line. This game was absolutely bonkers today. 2-point conversion was good, and that made it 14-14. Toshchik with a big play for the Davies Eagles. That ties it again at 14. And then it's Jacob Olsen to his favorite target, Cade Lynch. Century goes up 21-14. Ron Wingenbach loving that. And then Forknell, they just keep going back and forth. Forknell to Toshchik, part of Davies' 2-minute drive here to end the half. Zena makes a nice move right in front of our camera. Gets to the sideline. And then Forknell is going to find Mason Peterson for the touchdown. 25 yards. Both these offenses showing why they are so explosive. Look at the muscling around by Mason Peterson. Davies goes up 22-21. That was the lead at halftime. But Century comes out firing away. Their offense so potent right now. Cade Lynch with another receiving touchdown. Century goes up 28-22. The Olsen and Lynch connection was working all game in this one. As we take a look at the final score, 38-25. The Patriots come out on top. Olsen pretty happy to have his receiving target, Lynch, back in the lineup the last couple of weeks.
Earlier in the season, he was out with a knee injury, and he came back homecoming week. And, you know, that was something our offense was missing, and ever since he's came back, we've really been clicking. Me and him have always had chemistry since elementary and middle school football, and he's my go-to guy, so if we need a go-to play, he's getting the ball.
Game 2 of the doubleheader was an all-Bismarck matchup for second place in the WDA, with Bismarck High taking on Legacy. Demons seeking revenge after last year's double overtime thriller that went the way of the Sabres. Bismarck opens up with a big first quarter. Will Madler to Mark Stumpf, and Stumpf runs down the Legacy sideline with a big gain. A couple plays later, Bismarck 3-yard touchdown run. Guess who? Jalen Sprecher finds the land of 6 again. Bismarck up 7-0. And then later, next possession, Madler would score with Joe Johnner. Then a Bismarck fumble return for a touchdown. Dylan Seibel picks it up and goes into the end zone, makes it 21-zip. Cheerleaders loving that. Legacy fires back though. Jason Hoekstra to Devin Beck, 2-pointer good. Bismarck's lead cut to 21-8. Madler looking for the air, and he's picked off by Legacy. So the Sabres all of a sudden making a little bit of a comeback. They were in a 21-0 hole, but now all of a sudden they're coming back, and this touchdown pass, or touchdown run rather, is going to make it 21-15. DeMonte Stugelmeyer finds the end zone. Mark Gibson telling his offense, hey, let's get it together, boys. Madler going to come back, find Joe Johnner, and he's going to find the end zone. Bismarck goes back in front 29-15, extending their lead after just a little bit of a lull there in their scoring. But Legacy keeps firing back. The Sabres would not go down easily on this night. Hoekstra to Patrick Doan for a big pickup, then to Austin Wolf for the touchdown. It's 29-22, but Sprecher comes right back, and that is the dagger. Bismarck goes up 36-22 at halftime. Sprecher added 2 more TDs in the third quarter. Bismarck goes on to win it 50-22. Statement made by the Demons. You watched this one unfold earlier tonight on Midco Sports Network. Fargo Shanley, the new #1 in Class 2A after upsetting St. Mary's, trying to avoid a letdown against Valley City. It was the Highliners quieting the crowd early though. Tate Suffolk to Benton Murray wide open. 65-yard touchdown on the third play of the game. Shanley answers though with a methodical drive. Cade Busek on the keeper makes it 7-6 Deacons. They had to convert a 4th down on the next possession. Later they score. Haley Buchholz hauls in the short pass, finds the end zone, makes it 14-6. Just before the end of the opening quarter, this is Busick flying 40 yards for the touchdown. He's been on fire lately. Then, putting those feet to work even more. This is his 3rd rushing touchdown of the game, his 7th of the year. Beacons up 28-6. Then it's Haley Buchholz's turn. 29-yard touchdown gallop, 35-7. Shanley, the top team in the state, really flexing its muscle tonight. They go on to win big, 55-6. There's Jacob McKeever hauling in one right before the half. Shanley getting ready to make some noise in the playoffs. They have a couple more games to go. Not only was it number 1 versus number 2 tonight in single A as EEK hosted Hillsborough Central Valley, but the winner would be in the driver's seat to clinch the Region 1 title next week. 2 great rushing attacks, 2 special defenses in this one. First quarter, Burrows set the tone. Grant Skager, 67 yards to the house, makes it 7-zip in a hurry. He was just getting started. Later, it's Skager again, running in for the score. He had over 200 yards in the first half. Thunder down 22-9. They go to their workhorse, Clayton Greenike, All-State a year ago. Don't forget about me. He goes 33 yards, shedding a few tacklers to start. EEK's on the board 22-7. Just before the half, Thunder threatening for more. Jacob DeWald finds Lane Hansen over the middle. The big tight end makes the catch, cuts the lead in half at 28-14. But out of the half, the Burros get an early dagger. Ryan Troftgruben heaves it to Carson Henningsgaard in the back of the end zone. The Burros go on to win it 48-14. So Hillsborough Central Valley knocks off number 1 EEK in 1 versus 2, and also takes over the driver's seat in Region 1. What a statement made by the Burros to go out there and win by 30 plus. You saw a battle at the top of Region 1. Now how about a battle at the top of Region 4? 1-loss Dickinson Trinity hosting 4th-ranked Beulah, the team that has spent all year at number 1 in my power rankings. Early in the game, Beulah's Mikey Morris mishandles the snap, and Trinity's senior defensive back Sean Valesky picks it up at the 10 and runs it into the end zone. Beulah will go on to have 4 fumbles in the first half. They tallied only 34 yards total of offense in the first half. Trinity, not much better, just 73 total yards of offense. So if you like defense, you'll like this game. Beulah gets the ball to start the second half. On the 4th play of the drive, another fumble. Trinity recovers. Then it's Trinity capitalizing. Eric Knopik hands off to freshman running back Nathan Gillek from the 1-yard line with 5:34 left in the third. They have a lead. And Knopik scoots into the end zone for the 2-point conversion and a 14-0 lead here as he finds the edge and rolls out and just inside the pylon. That counts. Trinity knocks off 4th-ranked Beulah convincingly tonight, 21-0. As we take a look at the final score, they've allowed just 2 points in the last 5 games. Dickinson Trinity is on a roll since losing their opener. Region 5 up for grabs. Shiloh Christian hosting last year's state runner-up New Salem Glen Ullin in a battle of unbeatens. Early on, Evan Henke is going to lose this one. There he is in the backfield getting taken down. Shiloh Christian scoops it up. Justin Hangen, Johnny on the spot. 2 plays later, Kanan Fagerlin takes the pitch and runs right into our camera. Perfect spot for our cameraman. Shiloh up 7-0. Then it's Jaden Mitchell. He's been a great quarterback for this Skyhawks team. He's going to take the snap, and he's looking for Josh Lardy here. Drops back. Mitchell has a cannon. He's shown that. The sophomore has been a sensation. He finds Josh Lardy for the touchdown catch. Shiloh up 14-0. Then it's New Salem fighting back. It's going to be Henke with a touchdown pass to Braden Zuroff. This is on 4th and 32. How many times do you have a play for 4th and 32? I don't know, but New Salem Glen Ullin has some magic. This pass to Braden Zuroff and Shiloh's lead all of a sudden is dwindled down to 14-8. That was a score after the first quarter, and there are plenty more highlights to come here. Braden Zuroff, this is coming up on 4th and long. Yeah, fans loving that. 4th and long, Zuroff is going to take off. And once our camera gets it, take a look at number 9, scoot away from the defense. Everyone trying to chase him down. 83 there, Bartholomew Ogbu, the NDSU commit can't catch him. New Salem up 16-14. But here comes the answer from Shiloh. Mitchell to Trey Brunel. Shiloh up 20-16. So many explosive plays in this game from both sides. New Salem comes right back and regains the lead at 22-20 thanks to Mr. Henke escaping tackles and turning on the Jets, just getting across the goal line, in for the touchdown before he could get stopped. And then it's Henke, another touchdown run. Boom! No, he stopped at the 1, just kidding. Then it's Henke rushing in for the touchdown. Oh, we're having fun on a Friday night. New Salem up 30-20. Brunel takes the ensuing kickoff, though, down to the 20-yard line. So all of a sudden, Shiloh Christian back in business. Mitchell with the rushing score. So now New Salem's lead is 30-28. The Holsteins fire right back. Henke to Zuroff again. Are you kidding me? Another touchdown for this tandem? New Salem up 36-28. Shiloh not done yet. Everything coming so easy for both these offenses. Mitchell to Brunel. As if you haven't seen enough highlights, that makes it 36-34. We cut it there. New Salem holds on for the 36-34 victory, and they win the region title and clinch a first-round bye. How about that? Well, the stakes were just as high in Wyndmere, where the Warbirds were hosting Thompson for the Region 1 crown. These two haven't played each other since Wyndmere-Lidgerwood beat the Tommies in the 2010 semifinals en route to a state championship. The road team jumped out quick. Cole Sorby scored his first of 3 touchdowns for the Tommies, made it 7-zip. Still in the first, Warbirds driving. Wyatt Harless sidesteps the defender. He throws to Andy Vasquez for the 17-yard score over a Thompson defender. Wyndmere-Lidgerwood gets the 2-pointer and leads by 1. How about some defense from the Warbirds? Charlie Moffitt slings his man to the side and takes down the quarterback for a sack. Then, with just under 6 minutes left in the first half, we have the play of the night in high school football. 4th and 14, Harless to Vasquez for his second score. Unbelievable catch. Finishes with 7 catches, 122 yards. 14-7 Warbirds at that point. Thompson looks to air it out here with time taken away in the first half. Harless comes up with the interception, though. Warbirds lead it at the break, 14-7. The second half would provide a lot more scoring. Ultimately, the home team comes out on top. The Warbirds top the Tommies 30-21 and lock up a first-round bye in the playoffs. So, guys, we are already at that point in the season talking about playoffs in 9-man. Come next week, big wins by Wyndmere-Lidgerwood and New Salem All-Mount Glen Ullin tonight. Top 5 victories as well.
How long has it been since Shiloh Christian has lost a regular season game? I was trying to remember.
It has been a while. I
It's
think
been a couple
it's
years.
somewhere in the neck of the woods of 30, 40,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Crazy.
Games in a row, yeah.
Good stuff, Jody.
You bet.
All right, thanks, Jode. We'll get back to Jody for some zone coverage. Coming up next, some post-game with the coaches from tonight's ball games. We've got post-game from Pierre in Madison and Brandon Valley and Roosevelt in South Dakota coming up next in zone coverage. Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live, and this is zone coverage. We get some post-game comments from the coaches from some of the ball games tonight, and we've got several in South Dakota. Let's get back up to Jody Norstedt. West Fargo, a big win tonight, but 2 other big winners tonight, Jody. Bismarck High and Bismarck Century both get to 6-1 with wins tonight.
Yeah, think about this. The Patriots haven't lost since that opening loss to Cheyenne, 16-14. They've really responded well. They get the 38-25 victory tonight. Here's head coach Ron Wingenbach on his team's big win.
I thought defensively we played much better. We just talked about at halftime, if you're going to play in the latter part of October and into November, you can't be giving up those type of plays. And credit Fargo Davies for some big plays. They came up with some opportunities, and we just got to do a lot better job of tackling in the next 2 games.
Well, another one of the big outcomes as we jump down to Class A. Hillsborough Central Valley had that big 48-14 victory over number 1 Ellendale Edgley-Cullum. We knew that those two were the 2 Titans in Region 1 all year. Hillsborough Central Valley gets a big win. Jacob Berkmeyer was on the call for that game, and he has a quick recap of that one.
Hillsborough Central Valley Burros really came out with some physicality at both sides of the ball, pounded their way to a 48-14 win over previously unbeaten number 1 ranked Ellendale Edgley-Cullum. HCV came out firing 4 touchdowns in their first 5 drives before halftime, with all 4 scores coming from Grant Skager, who followed excellent blocking up front to run 67, 71, 26, and 40 yards on his touchdown runs. EEK was able to get on the board before the half after a 33-yard scoring run from Clayton Greenick and an 8-yard touchdown pass from Jacob Dewald to Lane Hansen. At halftime, 28-14 was the Hillsborough Central Valley lead. Second half, Burroughs really continued to command the line of scrimmage. They picked up really big gains on the ground. Burrough defense continued their stout play as they have all season and did not allow the Thunder to get rolling there in the second half before HCB capped it off. Ezra Longthorne, 59-yard touchdown run, put the exclamation point on the victory.
And as we continue our quick whip around, Wyoming Lidgerwood wins 30-21 over Thompson. Chase Miller had the call on 740 The Fan.
Was the Region 1 North Dakota 9-man regular season championship on the line, and boy, did it not disappoint between the second-ranked Wyoming Lidgerwood Warbirds and the fourth-ranked Thompson Tommies. Let's get to the fourth quarter of play, where it was a 15-14 lead for Thompson, but Luke Furch then took over for a 1-yard rushing score to start the fourth quarter of play. Then on a 4th and 2, with about 2 minutes left to go, he scampers for a 40-yard rushing touchdown, which put the game away for good with a 2-point Wyatt Harless to Andy Vasquez connection, and the Wyoming Lidgerwood Warbirds go on to win over the Thompson Tommies 30-21 in Wyoming tonight. With the win, they're the regular season champs in 9-man for Region 1 in North Dakota.
And here come the playoffs next week already. In another matchup in 9-man, New Salem Glen Ullin had that huge win, 36-34. Head coach Steve Kleingen pretty fired up at his team's performance.
It's a thrill, man. I tell you, we've worked so hard this year, and to be able to come down here on their home field in that 41-game regular season winning streak and win our second straight conference championship, and know we get a first-round bye and a little bit of a break. It's a tremendous feeling.
The Holsteins, one of the better nicknames in North Dakota, and they get a big win tonight, so we put a bow on it with the Holsteins.
And a great tradition, too, of hauling up the trailer.
Oh, yeah. They get hauled in on a cattle trailer, run out of that when they go out into the field. They brought it to the Fargo Dome last year for the state championship game.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jody Norstedt up in Fargo. Let's get to some South Dakota zone coverage here. Janny, starting with Sioux Falls Roosevelt, the Riders are now 6-1 after they beat Rapid City Central tonight.
I'll tell you what, they came out, it was only a 7-6 lead at halftime, and things were in question. And a couple of seniors that we talked to, Mason McCormick and Carter Lohr, told us how they turned things around.
We knew we just had to come out and do what we do. We were kind of all the homecoming festivities, all the distractions. It's not really an excuse, but I don't know. We just got to come out with higher intensity. We only had an hour to prepare because we had our pep rallies and stuff. It was just a lot of distraction. I'm glad we got this one out of our way.
Yeah, it's fun. 12 points, not bad. We stuffed them on a couple 2-point conversions, which was big in the first half, and yeah, it's fun flying around.
They were flying around in the second half. Their defense has saved them the last couple of weeks.
All right, Roosevelt gets to 6-1 with that win tonight. Brandon Valley, meanwhile, is 5-2 now. How long's Chad Garrow been out at Brandon Valley?
You know what? I don't have that number, but it takes a long time to win 100 games. I do know that. And, yeah, that's exactly what he got tonight. Let's hear from Chad Garrow and Braden Peterson.
I mean, it feels good, but, you know, like I was just telling the kids, I mean, the staff's been with me this whole time. And so, you know, I couldn't do, you know, a lot of things that we do without the staff. And, I mean, obviously, you can't win a lot of games without players, and we've had great players over the years.
I think it's just up to the guys on the line. They've been just pushing, staying on blocks, and I can just follow behind their butts, and it's wide open from there on.
We were able to mix it up a little bit at the beginning and get that lead and then just kind of protect the ball in the second half.
All right, 100 wins for Coach Chad Garrow out there. Brandon Valley beats Watertown tonight, 34-0 was the final in that one. Since we've gone to 11 AA, had the 11 AA class, Jandy, it's been Harrisburg and Yankton have been very good, but Pierre and Mitchell are the top two teams right now.
And Pierre has a very good team this year, and they use their quarterback in a little different way tonight in a couple times, but Peyton Zabel has been very solid as their quarterback this year, but it took a really gutty performance in the fourth quarter for Pierre to get a big road win.
You know, I mean, we knew this was going to be a battle. You know, I mean, they were number one, we were number two. They've got a heck of a team offensively and defensively, so it was a lot of fun just to see our guys respond and answer the challenge. And I mean, every win feels sweet, but this one feels really good coming off of a team that ended our season last year.
You know, I think our defense definitely stepped up to the plate the second half. You know, we made a few adjustments to kind of slow their run game down a little bit more. You know, and then I said credit to Mitchell to find a way to throw the ball and bring it back and give us a little more excitement than we wanted there at the end.
They did. They threw the ball a little bit, and that's something Mitchell has not done very smoothly this year, but that's how they got back into this game. Might be another element to Mitchell as they play Harrisburg next week, and they still got a couple big games left before the playoffs start.
All right, Pierre is 6-1, and again, Peyton Zabel, their quarterback, threw a touchdown pass, caught a touchdown pass from Jack Maher as Pierre beats Mitchell tonight 14-7. And again, Roosevelt, is that game at Pierre or
it's at Pierre?
Pierre and Roosevelt
Pierre.
plays next Friday.
We're hoping that we have that on. We're still not totally finally sure on that, but we should have that one on Midco Sports Network next week.
Live on Friday night. So, all right, in 11A, Madison. I mean, they're really good this year. They had Madison Layton last year, who is now playing for Dakota State. How good were they last year? They were fabulous, and they're really, really good again this year.
Well, they're really good because of the Yankees, and they've got a guy like Josh Giles dealing. We weren't sure if they were big enough physically to match up with a team like T, who has 5 starting linemen back, but they proved a point tonight, I would say.
Madison beat T area 42-0 tonight, and let's hear from the Bulldogs after this one.
It's hard to do, and I'm proud of our players. It's hard to get geared up every week. Definitely, we're up to play T. 7-0, we're tickled pink right now. Came out healthy, played well, and to put up a goose egg on the defensive side of the board is really good. We finished strong right before half with a touchdown to go up 28-0. So I couldn't be more pleased with how we played on both sides of the ball.
We haven't heard enough from Max Hodgen this year. Always love to hear from Max.
Yeah, and again, they win tonight 42-0. Last 2 games of the regular season for Madison, Tri-Valley, and then they get Del Rapids. Del Rapids is looking like a contender right now.
Yeah, they haven't lost since the week 1 when they lost to Dakota Valley, another undefeated team. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun in 11A. And you look at that playoff picture, right now, West Central, St. Thomas More, both out of the top 8 right now. They can work their way back in, but it's going to be tough.
All right, when we come back on Varsity Sports Live, we will take you through the rundown. One big game-changing play from all of the ball games. We had cameras at tonight in North and South Dakota. Tupac, 200 yards in the first half tonight. The rundown coming up next.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance Agency and South Dakota State University.
Welcome back. Let's get to the rundown. Jandy Pants, one big game-changing, life-changing play from 17 ball games.
Life-changing plays.
That we had cameras at tonight. Rapid City Central and Sioux Falls Roosevelt.
The freshman makes a great debut. Not really his debut, but 2 touchdowns for Tyler Feldkamp. Roosevelt gets the win.
Brandon Valley over Watertown, Braden Peterson.
You know about this guy if you've watched any high school football this year. Braden Peterson ripping off another 3 touchdown game for the Lynx.
170 yards in the first half for him. Pierre beats Mitchell at Mitchell.
How about that? You line up your 6'6 quarterback at receiver. He hauls down the eventual game-winning touchdown.
Tri-Valley and Sioux Falls Christian suspended this game in the second quarter. They'll pick it up and finish it on Saturday. Christian in the lead, 8-0 there. Millbank and Del Rapids. Big night for the Warriors at home.
Yeah, Seth Spielman running one in. A dominant win for Del Rapids.
Coleman Egan beats up on Castle at 38-5.
Yeah, Bodie Gross is really leading those guys. A nice win over an undefeated team.
Madison, Jacob Unterbrunner with a touchdown grab here. Josh Giles, 5 touchdown passes on the night.
Unbelievable. They have really made a statement. And here's Cordell Menning making a statement for Corsica Stickney, keeping them undefeated.
Dakota Valley drills West Central 35-2.
Another huge win in 11A. We got 2 dominant teams in 11A, both undefeated.
Jake McCabe with a touchdown catch there. Tupac had 205 yards, 3 touchdowns at halftime. Washington rolls.
No problem. Aberdeen Central's had a decent defense this year, too. Tupac ran all over them.
West Fargo, #1 in North Dakota, all over Fargo South. And Bismarck Century gets to 6-1 with a win today.
Yeah, a team that hasn't lost since the opening week against Cheyenne. They are rolling.
Bismarck High is 6-1 as well.
Galen Sprecher really made a statement today. Tons of touchdowns for that demon.
Fargo Shanley is the team to beat in 2A in North Dakota.
They had no problem. By the way, St. Mary, the team they beat last week, struggled in their game.
This is our favorite running back tonight. Look at these moves. Grant Skager for Hillsboro.
Yeah, he is a difference maker. Look at the difference between Hillsboro Central Valley last year and EEK. Yeah, I think there's been a real change in the tides.
New Salem Glen Ullin.
Huge win for them. New Salem Glen Ullin's Braden Zuroff cashes in a touchdown and beats Shiloh Christian.
And a 9-man matchup. Wyndmere Lingerwood beats Thompson 30-21.
Andes Vasquez gets it done, and another important win in 9-man football tonight. A lot of 9-man wins.
Big schools in South Dakota tonight. What was the big deal?
Well, I think
wins again, but
Pierre's win was huge. Roosevelt's win was good for confidence in the second half. Washington's definitely back on track.
all right, coming up live on Saturday here on Midco Sports Network, 2 college football games. Huge game in Vermilion with the unbeaten Coyotes taking on Youngstown State at 2 o'clock. And then in the Big Sky, Northern Colorado at North Dakota, 2:30 on Midco Sports Network.
Yotes are going to win.
2. See you next week.